Oklahoma City Thunder select Chet Holmgren from Gonzaga University.
What a pass. Giddy underneath for JRE. The reverse and the rookie-to-rookie action. SGA defended closely by Westbrook. Tough. Step back. Gets up the shot. Banks it in for the lead.
This is Udart. You're listening to the Uncontested.
What is up, and welcome to the Uncontested podcast. We're coming to you live Wednesday, September 28th, in the middle of the OKC Thunder training camp. We are brought to you by the Blue Wire Podcast Network and DailyThunder.com. I'm your host for the evening, Jacob Niffen. We've got sliding in at the very last moment, JD Silva.
That was a fun series of events.
Hey, I'm walking here.
What the heck?
We've also got Kamiar Marabi here.
This is probably one of the first times I've had the opportunity to come up for air for stuff from work. So it's just nice to come along and chat with you fellas.
It's good to see you, although I see you every day at work. It's good to see you outside of work on the podcast. Before we dive into all things OKC Thunder training camp, trades, etc., a few things we want to let our listeners know about. First off, uncontested hats. They are in,
slick,
and they are gorgeous, very limited run. So if you would like an uncontested hat, you need to get in our DMs on any of our social channels, and we will hook you up, but it's a limited supply. So if you want one, you got to get in quick. It's got the big U on it, Thunder U, uncontested. The back says uncontested. They are dad hats. They're not like a fitted hat, but they are awesome. I've been wearing mine like crazy. Absolutely love it. If you've already ordered one, I'm getting these out in the mail probably this weekend. I got to go to the post office and print off all the official like labels and everything, but I've got them packaged up and ready to go. If you've already ordered one, you're also getting a new uncontested sticker as well. We got new stickers in. I don't know what I'm doing with these things. I'm just twisting them around. They are awesome, super high quality. If you're not getting a hat but you still want a sticker, very simple. Just go wherever you listen to your podcasts at, drop a 5-star rating, write a little review, take a screenshot of that, DM it to us with your address. I will mail you a free sticker. We'd love to get these out in the community. I will ship stickers internationally. I'll ship hats internationally. So all of our listeners, hit us up, get a hat, get a sticker. We also have some awesome Daily Thunder content coming up very, very soon. So be on the lookout for that. Make sure you follow the Uncontested and Daily Thunder on Twitter to be able to see all that content. Also an uncontested event, Uncontested Daily Thunder event being announced relatively soon, next week or so. So be on the lookout for that. We're super excited. I think I've got everything. I think that's it. Gentlemen, let's talk some basketball as we have actual content. People are on a court playing and not injuring their Liz Frank tendon thingy.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I met somebody today that had a Liz Frank injury, and he was in a walking boot.
Same. Very sad. First note of business today. The Oklahoma City Thunder have made a trade, folks. Vit Kreții is no longer with the Oklahoma City Thunder. A very sad day where I have to retire the I'm going off the rails of a Kreții train meme. I worked really hard on that, and it's now lost to the annals of time.
I liked Vit. I mean, he couldn't defend worth anything, but like whatever that man was throwing up, the majority of the time, it was going in. So I enjoyed his short, awkward tenure because his body motions were super awkward, but somehow that ball went in pretty well. So gonna miss you, Vit.
Eamon says this train is no longer Kreții. That's pretty good.
You lost the Kreții train, but you did gain. How could you be Mo Harkless for however long?
For maybe a week.
For maybe a week.
Maybe a week. It was kind of interesting. So the official podcast of the OKC Thunder with Paris Lawson and with Nick Gallo, they were at Media Day. They got to talk to every player. I was listening to that last night after the Vit trade, and they talked to Vit, and this was before he knew he got traded. And he was saying, he's super excited. His knee feels better than it's felt his entire NBA career. He's been hanging out with the guys, yada, yada, yada. And then he said, I can't wait to see you guys, again later this week. So in comparison to the Ty Jerome news that the Thunder and Ty's representatives are working collaboratively to find Ty a new home, doesn't seem like it was that way with Vit. It seemed like this came along pretty quickly.
Yeah, life comes at you fast in the NBA when you're a fringe player. Do we know? I forget exactly which players we thought might get cut, which ones wouldn't get cut. Was Vit kind of the one? He's definitely a fringe roster guy. How many did we think he was going to end up on this team?
I had Vit as one of the cuts. I think we had a pull kind of like a Ty Jerome, Vit Krecji, Teo Maladone.
I think
Derek
everybody
Favors.
universally agreed on Teo Maladone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and Ty's gone, Vit's gone. One more cut left. Do you guys think it's Teo over Derek Favors, or will Favors be gone and Teo stay around?
I would do Teo because you could still deal Favors with his expiring contract.
Yep, it's a big contract. Big, but $10 million. It's expiring. You now have a little bit less depth in your front court with the Chet injury.
Yeah,
I think Favors staying around makes some sense. Let's talk a little bit more about this trade, though. We're all in agreement. Mo Harkless isn't going to get on a plane and come to Oklahoma City, correct?
Right.
maybe. No, probably not.
I'd be so mad if he took minutes away from like Aaron Wiggins or someone. So no.
The Thunder also collected a 2029 second-round pick from the Hawks. Who the hell knows what's going on in 2029? Another interesting little wrinkle. I found this very fascinating, and I got a little confused by it. The Thunder owe their second-round pick in 2025 to the Atlanta Hawks. That is part of the Carmelo Anthony for Derek Schroeder trade. The Atlanta Hawks owe their 2025 pick. What does that look for, Kamiar?
Did you just say Derek Schroeder instead of Dennis? No, Dennis?
Oh, did I? I got
Yeah,
Derek Favors on the brain.
Yeah, it's all good.
Dennis Schroeder.
Really
Yes. That the Thunder had originally traded a lottery protected first round pick, but the Thunder have been in the lottery. So Atlanta did not get that selection. Instead, it rolled over to 2 second round picks. One of those second round picks is in 2025. But then the Hawks traded their own 2025 second round pick to Oklahoma City in the Danilo Gallinari trade. So Atlanta owns OKC's second round pick in 2025. OKC owns Atlanta's second round pick in 2025. So when they said they made amendments to the traded 2025 second, I got a little confused. Turns out that the 2025 pick that OKC is getting from Atlanta has been amended to where it is more likely to convey. There's some protections on it. Those protections have been lessened. It is now only a top 40 protected, where it was like a top 50 protected pick or something like that. So the Thunder essentially get a second round pick. They get a second round pick they already had, some protections removed from it. They have Mo Harkless, who I believe will just end up getting bought out. And for Atlanta, they dodge the luxury tax. Any massive takeaways from this, Silva?
No, I don't think so. I'm really curious. I saw Nate McMillan said that Vit's going to be just a part of their development program like all the other young guys. So I don't necessarily think that means he's going to make the roster. Hope he sticks around somewhere. He's exciting when he is on the court.
I think he can be really good when he's healthy.
Yeah.
We just haven't really got to see him healthy yet. And this is just a product of having to get rid of a guy.
Yep.
Right.
This is going to happen. Presti said we're going to be cutting NBA players, and that's just the way it works during a rebuild.
100%. So are you guys surprised at all that Teo was sent home before camp started? Vit traded basically the day camp started. I thought they were going to take this 18-man roster pretty far into training camp and let training camp help determine their decisions. Doesn't look like that's the case so far.
Yeah, it seems like they're already a little more opinionated than I thought on some of these guys, at least. So I'm real curious if we see something on Teo soon, like really soon.
It's got to come down to it soon.
Do you guys think it happens before preseason, Or are they going to let some preseason games go before they make this final cut?
I mean, I think people already kind of know. Like, I mean, like if you're Vit, like he can say like all those things about like liking the Thunder and like wanting to be a part of the future and stuff like that, but also like understand that he's likely on the chopping block. Therefore, like coming out and publicly being able to state like how he feels about his knee and like publicly be like it's the best I've ever felt, and I'm in the best shape of my life and stuff like that. So it's
Sam
very likely
Presti
that
ripped
these
that audio and texted it to every GM in the league.
yeah, like I'm very sure that players already know with their agents or get a feeling from their agents by now, whether they are in or out of the plans for this coming year and maybe even the foreseeable future. I would think they would already know,
Yeah.
or have a sense of that.
Let me ask you guys this, but before I ask you this, actually, Eamon in the chat asked, can we clarify what we posted on Twitter about Vit returning off of waivers? Actually, we got corrected by friend of the podcast, John Hamm. The Thunder cannot get Vit if he gets cut. Like the thought was you trade him, he gets cut, then you bring him back. You have to wait a full year. So Vit cannot come back to this team on a two-way or anything else for a full NBA season. So July 1 of next year, if he was available and they wanted to bring him back, they could. But once he gets traded, you're not reacquiring him. We've talked a lot about this third cut now. We all kind of think it's Teo. The dark horse guy there is Derek Favors. Let's say that we get an update from Shams, Woj, whoever, that says the Thunder are waiving blank or trading blank, and it's not Teo and it's not Favors.
Wow.
Who's the guy?
My mind first jumped to Bays, but I almost think his rim protection is like needed with Chet now being out. So I don't think it's going to be him. What else would it be? I don't think it would be like Aaron Wiggins.
Would you be more surprised if they just straight up cut somebody that's not Teo or Favors, or if they made a consolidation 2-for-1 trade? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'd probably be more surprised by the outright cut.
That's a good question. I
It
don't
is.
know.
I'm like looking through the names on the roster now. Like, who would I be most surprised by?
I'd be surprised by Trey Mann.
Oh, very.
Yeah.
Very, very. I think after Teo and Favors, I probably next on the list. I'm not saying this is going to happen. I think there's like a 99% chance it's one of those two. After that, I think you have to probably go like Aaron Wiggins.
Yeah.
And Jay Will.
Yep.
And Mark said at Media Day the other day, he knew they were going to take Jay Will. They were very high on Jay Will, like from the beginning of the draft process. Like he pretty much could have guaranteed they were going to take that guy. I don't see them just turning around and cutting him 2 months later before he even gets to do a training camp.
Like who would realistically get traded first? Are you looking at your veterans and your front court, Mike Muscala and Derek Favors, or are you looking at JRE and Darius Baisley? Because like your front court is not honestly that big. I mean, like you could add Josh Giddey in there too if you wanted to, but they have very limited groups of people that can play in the front court. And so that's why I think like, well, I don't know if they would actually trade somebody.
Especially at this point in the season.
They really like their guards. So like maybe a name could be Kenrich, but I don't think they would trade Kenrich because he seems like a team glue guy. He does everything, jack of all trades.
They put Chet's locker next to Kenrich so he can mentor him all season.
So would it be Poku if it was a trade? But if it was a cut, maybe Teo?
Maybe. I don't think a trade happens before like December.
Right.
I just can't shake. I've been saying this for months now. I just feel like a Hamidou Diallo-esque Baisley trade is on the table. It's kind of setting up the same way. It's a guy that didn't get extended that's going into a contract year. They have until like Halloween to extend Bays. I just don't see it happening.
Wait, how'd you say Halloween?
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 It's hollow?
This is Halloween. This is Halloween.
So
No?
did you say Halloween or Halloween?
I don't know. Now I'm overthinking it. Halloween.
All right.
Halloween.
Okay.
Hey,
anyways.
would you rather have Juan Toscano Anderson or Darius Baisley? Because
Toscano Anderson's like much older though, isn't he? Isn't he like 27?
Wait, hold up. Who's the Toscano Anderson?
he's a fringe roster guy for the Lakers who will.
He
get actual
was with
minutes.
the Warriors.
He'll get actual minutes because they like just need bigger wings.
Okay.
Like they played Stanley Johnson a lot of minutes last season, and maybe Bays could fit into that role for them. Like that's just an idea.
Oh, you're talking Juan Toscano Anderson for Bays swap.
I'm just saying if Bays got traded to a team and could get minutes for a team like the Lakers, make a lot of sense. And with the clutch connection,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who they would send back.
Who needs a big defensive wing?
I just inevitably feel like Baisley will get traded before the season is over.
Do you think Baisley is an NBA player, just like an NBA role player in general?
I think he can be
like
for
a
sure.
Defensive wing,
and he's still really young, you know,
like a Minu kind of esque, but more athletic,
or like a guy they just acquired, a Mo Harkless. I used to make the Darius Baisley is Nick Batum, like Portland Nick Batum comp. Maybe Darius Baisley is more of a Mo Harkless comp, another Portland guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I don't know, just something interesting. Like I don't think I would be shocked, like absolutely shocked, if it was not Teo or Favors. And I'm leaning heavily towards Teo.
Yeah.
But I think it's
why
something
wouldn't you?
I think it's something that is at least good to kind of talk through a little bit and just kind of get an idea of what it could be. I mean, hell, I floated the idea on Sunday's pod, and neither of you two were on this, so I guess I can refloat it. We're floating again. Want to see what you guys think of this?
Floaters.
Level of 1 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
How shocked would you be if the game 1 starters, let's say Shea's back, okay? Just let's use that caveat. Shea, Lou, Josh, Poku, Baisley.
Ooh.
Level 1 to 10. How surprised would you be?
10 being most surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Probably like a 6, 7. And to me, that makes me think Presti and Mark really want to see as soon as possible what they have in Bays and Poku. Like give them as many minutes as possible.
Doesn't it kind of make a little bit of sense as far as the lineup, though?
Kind of does, yeah.
Those are your 2 best rim protectors on the team.
You're right.
I'd be quite shocked. I'd be more on like 7, 8. Like they put so much stock into Jeremiah Robinson Earl. They played this man a million minutes. Poku's on the bench while JRE's getting legitimate minutes. I think obviously we've talked about a million times on the podcast that this year is the make it or break it year for Poku as far as like OKC is, despite the fact how still young he is. You're looking to see like you're banking on like long-term results, but like how long do you wait for those results, or how long do you wait to see those flashes of those results is the question that needs to be answered here. And so I'd be really shocked if it was, you said Poku and Baisley, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd lean more towards JRE and Baisley than Poku and Baisley.
That's what I think it will be, is JRE and Bays. Well, no, it's kind of interesting to think about.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting to think about.
Like if Baisley just leans into that role that he did the last half of the season, he's a different player and a different outcome for this team.
Yeah. It's make or break time for Baisley. You know, this is literally the end of the runway. Okay, let's move on and talk about something that I absolutely don't want to talk about, but we should probably touch on it.
Is it bad stuff?
SGA
Oh, do you want to talk about Shea?
and the trade rumors and
Oh,
the
no.
constant cycle. The most recent one comes from Canadian outlet TSN, who reports, quote, the Toronto Raptors are keeping an eye on the Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Oklahoma City. Like, what was the official word they used? They are monitoring the situation with
Yeah.
SGA
Mhm.
and Oklahoma City.
Yeah, I'm also monitoring movies for whatever one Scarlett Johansson is in. Who cares?
Yeah, what does that even mean? They're monitoring the situation.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it means GMs are doing their job, because I think every young star is being monitored in some way. So I don't know why this keeps getting out. I don't know.
It's dumb.
Yeah.
Like, are they so bad at monitoring that they missed the quote where Shea said, I know what I signed up for. I'm excited to be here. That's why I signed for 5 years. Maybe Shea's just blowing smoke up all of our asses.
Mm-hmm.
Never seen an NBA player do that in Oklahoma City before.
Stop.
Stop it. Okay, he's at least not going to get. I don't think he would not be traded in the first year of this 5-year extension.
Not at
really.
all. There is a very, very small chance of that. And I don't know, just the quotes he gave at media day. I don't think you're giving those quotes if you want out. I don't think he wants out. He said something along the lines of, I don't think we'll be losing for much longer. I love the guys we have here, yada, yada, yada. He said that Chet was the guy that he would have drafted. He's really excited to play with him whenever he gets back. Why would you trade him before you even get a chance to see him with the guy you just drafted number 2 overall? You know, like
next season is the big season. Like, how does the Thunder do with another lottery pick, with Chet back, with another year of development under Giddey?
Maybe a trade for like a more established guy. Then if they still suck,
then all right.
Then maybe the Shea trade rumors start to gain some steam for me. But right now, it just feels like bullshit.
Because
he's also not trading him for role players and a bunch of picks either. Like I see
like
Raptors
they did it with
rumors.
James Harden.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen Raptors rumors, but not including Scotty Barnes. I've seen like Suns rumors, but not
they'll
including...
trade Shea for like 2 first-round picks and OG Anunoby.
Yeah,
that is the literal like opposite type of guy that the Thunder are looking for right now.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
like it. I'm biased. Obviously, I'm biased. It would take like Scotty and a couple firsts to get it done, I think. If you're Presti, why would you budge otherwise?
I wouldn't. That wouldn't even do it for me. That would do it for you?
I'm saying like that's where we're starting the conversation at.
Yeah,
that's where the conversation starts.
Raptors fans say like there's no way they would include Scotty in the deal.
Well,
and I'm like, then you're not getting him.
Are not closely monitoring like where Earth is, and maybe you need to go out and touch grass.
Yeah, they're like, here's Fred VanVleet and Gary Trent Jr. I saw
like
Raptors fans say
man.
Shea's production is the same as Gary Trent Jr.'s on Twitter,
which is so. If that's your argument, why don't you just keep Gary Trent Jr.?
Yeah, people are just annoying.
Twitter is a cesspool.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, can we stop talking about this now?
I mean, you're the one that brought it up.
I felt like we needed to talk about it, but it just
you just said before we talked about it. I don't want to talk about it.
I know. I don't want to. I feel like as a podcast, we should probably touch on it. And now I'm just pissed off.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Silva,
you did that yourself.
Silva, play the ads.
One second. What's
up, Thunder fans? This is Jacob from the Uncontested Podcast, and I'm here to let you know that we have fully redesigned our merch store to get you the best Thunder swag available. Just visit cottonbureau.com and search the Uncontested Podcast to find all of our new designs. That's cottonbureau.com and search the Uncontested Podcast to find new drops like Josh Giddey's Wizard of Oz or an ode to the Trey Man Step Back. We've also got all the classics like Dortal Combat, Liu Tang Clan, and everyone's favorite MVP, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. The best part? you can get any design in the style of apparel you want. So if you're gearing up for the summer and want a tank top, needing a hoodie for the winter in Australia, or you're wanting a Pokemon onesie for your baby, we've got you covered. Make sure to go to cottonbureau.com and search the Uncontested Podcast to get your new Thunder gear today. And we are back. Gentlemen, let's jump into some training camp updates. So today was day 2 of training camp. The team has been doing 2-a-days, according to Nick Gallo and Paris Lawson. They're doing more physical, hard, like 5-on-5 practices in the morning.
Shay's tired with his dog.
Yes, tired by watching practice because he can't even practice right now. And they're doing like walkthroughs and film study in the evening. I wanted to touch on Josh a little bit because Josh had a chance to talk to the media Tuesday. He talked a lot about the work he's doing with Chip England, how Chip is not like fundamentally recreating his shots, but they're making little tweaks. He said he and Chip are working out 2 to 3 times a day, whereas other players said, yeah, I've seen him around, but like they haven't worked out with him at all.
Mm-hmm.
Did the Thunder just bring this guy in to help Josh Giddey?
Kind of feels like it, and I think it'll end up being a worthy investment. I saw this quote from Josh, and I've told people this week that don't give a damn about Thunder basketball that this is happening. It's just really exciting thinking about the possibilities. Who knows how long it'll be until we actually see like a change? Is it this season? Is it in 2024? Who knows? But it's still exciting.
I mean, it's pretty clear, right? That it's Josh is getting the majority of the workouts, and like some guys aren't even seeing him at all. And I'd be curious to know who exactly isn't seeing him at all. But I mean, it's pretty clear that Presti has a vision. He knows his investments, and he made that clear on media day too. I mean, like he made it clear about who were the cornerstones of the franchise going forward. He mentions Josh, he mentions Lou, mentions Shea. So like he's been very, very transparent about that. So I mean, I don't see why that would be shocking, because out of those cornerstones that he's mentioning, I mean, like he's not even talking about Chet that could already shoot. He's the only one that doesn't shoot at a high clip and doesn't really take good. His shooting form is like the most awful out of all of them. And if he just makes a couple of tweaks and just bumps it up even a couple of percentage points, that makes him a worthwhile guy to actually defend a little bit closer on the perimeter. That gives him more access as a playmaker for other players on the court.
Let me ask you guys this. So last year, Josh shot 26.3% from 3 on 3.9 attempts a game. If I put you on the spot right now to ask you how many 3-point attempts per game will he have next season, and where will that percentage land? What would be your guess?
329.
How many attempts did you say he
averaged 4 attempts last year and shot 26%.
3 and 29.
So you think he's going to go down in attempts, up a little bit in percentage?
Yep, because you still have mouths to feed and Trey Mann. You're going to get J-Dub on the court. You're going to get a lot more dudes that are going to be taking more shots.
I think it's going to stay around 4. I don't want to go to 30% yet. I'm probably thinking like 29-ish also. Better.
Like I think he naturally improves, and then with the help of Chip England, bumps that up a couple points. I don't know about 3 percentage points. That might be a little bit high, maybe 28, but definitely just natural improvement just as he progresses. But again, we've seen what it looks like when somebody tries to rework your shot.
It takes a while.
Markel Fultz.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more so looking at what does it look like in 3 years. That's what I'm. So hopefully we
kind
just
of a long-term game here.
The thing is like he's a decent free throw shooter, right?
And the midi looks really nice, I think.
Yeah, it does.
Like that's the thing. That
like, gives me a lot of hope.
Like, that's what I don't understand. He's got like this front leg load up, and then he started to do these weird, awkward, like squat looking threes where like his legs are super far apart, and it's not he doesn't get a base. So like you're seeing development, and I'm wondering what that looks like if he's operating with Chip England 3 times a day, what that looks like even more.
Josh also said he gets his thumb in his shot a lot.
Mhm.
And so that's one thing he and Chip are working on, is basically removing the thumb from that shot and rolling it off those front 2 fingers.
I mean,
instead
we've
of
had the
letting his
same
thumb-
conversations because I have the same issue.
I have the same issue.
Yeah,
Gotta
if
give
you
me
ever play
clean.
pickup basketball, you probably realize that you get your thumb into your shot a little bit. It makes it go off.
Yeah.
So it's exciting that Josh is working with Chip so frequently. I've said it on this podcast multiple times. I'll say it again. If Josh Giddey can get to league average from 3, which is a big jump for him, that would be almost like 10 percentage points. If he ever got to league average, he's an all-star.
I think he's an all-star before that. I mean,
And-
Ben Simmons could be an all-star.
Yeah, that's
Josh
a
Giddey
fair,
could be an
fair
all-star.
point. Fair point. And Josh is a much more aggressive offensive player. Staying on the topic of Josh,
So he would have taken the layup.
100%.
Yeah.
Now passed it up.
Coach Mark Daignault talked about Josh, specifically about his body and how he
He's talking about
is
his body?
able to pack on more muscle and more weight. He said he expects to see Josh get like much bigger
Yep.
over the next few years. Josh also said that this offseason, his main 2 focuses
Like a G.
were working on his body and working on his jump shot. Josh currently listed at 6'8", 216, in comparison to Darius Baisley, who is 6'9", 216. So Josh is basically Darius Baisley sized already. And it seems like coach thinks Josh could pack on 5-10 more pounds of muscle. If he's at like 6'8", 225, 230, that's a power forward in the league.
Josh is also more compact than Baze. Yeah, like Baze seems a
Feels
little
like
more
he is.
lankier, right?
I feel that way. Yes.
Baze has like wider shoulders.
I bet Baze has a
He's got a longer frame.
2 or 3 more inches on the wingspan.
And
Yeah.
so like that's like it was very apparent when in summer league when Josh showed up, we're like, oh wow, he got bigger. Like he got bigger. And like you're thinking that he can add on maybe another like maybe 5 to 10 pounds. That would suggest to me he would be doing some work in the post as well, along with being a more prominent ball handler for the wear and tear of the season, where Shea's super cut, right? And Shea can play a lot of off ball, shooting guard, small forward, like he did in OKC and like he did with the Clippers when he was there that first season, and would allow Josh to become that primary ball handler in a lot of situations, but also allow Shea to take that when he needs it because he is still the best player on that court.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is Josh still only 19?
Yeah.
Yeah, so who knows what he looks like when he's 25.
Yeah. And for me, the putting on weight for
you ever think
Josh.
he cuts his hair?
No, no.
You think he
Kinda
keeps
like-
the long hair?
Who's the guy in the Bible that like all his power came from his hair?
Samson.
Yeah, Samson. That's Josh. For Josh, the weight gain for me is more about who he can defend.
Yeah.
And
Like
if he
fours.
Wait,
at
was it
260
Samson or Samuel?
I think it's Samson.
Samson sounds right.
Yeah.
Samsonite. That's what it is.
Welcome to the Uncontested, the biblical podcast.
Yeah.
Samsonite.
But at Josh at like 216, there's a small handful of like quote unquote power forwards in the league that I don't feel comfortable with him guarding. Like obviously like Karl Anthony Towns is one, Anthony
Yeah.
Davis is one. But after that, you're looking at like Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. I'm not worried about Josh like not having a size advantage over those guys. You're looking at like guys like Marcus Morris, Rui Hachimura, Julius Randle. Like there's not a lot of guys, Christian Wood, that it scares me size-wise that Josh is going to get bullied. Like that makes your team so much more versatile if you have a guy that can really battle at the 4. And I think it's really fascinating that they have Josh who can play point guard, but also defend up to 4. We're going to talk about J-Dub in a second. He can guard up to 4. Usman can guard up to 4. Baisley can guard 5s. Like you just have these guys that, to me, defensive versatility is a little more important than offensive versatility on this team right now.
I just keep on thinking about Minnesota and how miserable it's gonna be for OKC's front court this
And
year.
they have
Yeah.
Minnesota 2 times in like the first 4 games.
Yeah.
They might get a little bludgeoned. Fair to expect. Those might be games where they start like JRE and Derek Favors, honestly. Just
Wouldn't be
get
a
some
bad
size
idea.
out there.
Just some size and width. Yeah.
Okay, moving on from Josh. Let's talk a little bit about J-Dub. I just mentioned him. Post-practice today, J-Dub says he feels comfortable playing 1 through 5.
Pretty
How
wild.
do you guys feel about that?
Surely we're not going to see him play center, like traditional center. But I guess if a team goes small, I mean, we've seen the Clippers run like Marcus Morris at the 5 before, or Nick Batum, I think, is their center a lot of the times these days. You could see him match up on someone like
What
that.
they
But
call that Warriors lineup with basically all the shooters plus Draymond
the
Green.
death lineup.
The death lineup?
Yeah, so like is having all those guys be out there 1 through 5 because like everybody's basically 6'7" and taller except Shea and Lou, and you could sub off Lou for somebody like Trey who's a little bit bigger. Trey's like 6'6", and just like have a bunch of guys out there. Shea at like Shay's 6'6", so like they're all like 6'6" and taller, 6'6" to 6'9", and just run
With
a death
stupid
lineup.
long wingspans. Yeah.
Yeah,
You could.
Would you
for
feel
sure.
comfortable doing that?
I think you have to have Lou out there for like that physicalness. That's something they've talked a lot about this preseason is being physical, and physical is not that sounds weird to
Clothesline
say.
somebody in the paint.
Physical is not an act of physicality. Being physical is like a mindset. They need to like play tough, basically.
Yeah.
They got to have that dog in them. Basically is what Coach and Preston, all of them have said. Like, I think they got that in some of these guys. I think Josh plays physical. I mean, look at the way that guy rebounds, right? I think Josh is a physical player. Lou's a physical player. If they can get some more of those guys, it seems like J-Dub
Chet for sure
can be
when
one of
he's
those
back.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think J-Dub will really ever, like, quote unquote, be the center on the court.
Yeah.
But I love his versatility, man.
That's what the quote is about, I think, mainly. Just his willingness and ability to play everywhere, almost.
When it's all said and done, where do you think J-Dub gets more of his minutes? On the wing, as a guard, or as a front court player? He played point guard in college.
I feel like
I'd say as a guard.
And
well,
I go wing.
It's tough to really like look at that because you don't know who that second lineup is going to consist of. Like, what it's going to be Shea. One of Shea and Josh is going to be subbed off early, so the other can run the second lineup for the most part. I doubt you're going to see just lineups of Josh and Shea going to the bench and coming off the bench together because those guys are unique in their own talents.
Yeah.
So I could see him playing a lot of guard.
Next to Trey Mann off the bench gets me excited.
Next to Trey Mann, I could see him playing guard in place of Lou. If Lou gets in a little bit of foul trouble early and they feel like they need a more defensive guy, that's more 3 and D. I could see him playing that, but at the same time, I feel like Josh is going to play so much and they're going to have Trey in there as a combo guard that he would be relegated to, well, not relegated, but he would just be pushed back to that 3 spot. But I mean, we all feel comfortable with him as a defender, like as a rookie, as far as rookies go. Obviously we're going to notice, what his issues are, what things he needs to work on. But my first knee-jerk reaction was guard, but kind of thinking through it, it would have to be the wing. They have a lot of dudes in that backcourt.
Mm-hmm.
They do.
And I think he's just got such a unique build to play wing and even play up a little bit. I think they'll play him up more than they'll play him down as far as the lineup is concerned.
That's fair.
J-Dub also said that he has the best hair on the team.
Yeah, I was just thinking about his hair. It's all big and stuff, and he's got that
Cool.
one or two
One little braid that comes down.
Yeah,
It's
it's
awesome.
really cool.
like some Gohan vibes.
Do you guys agree J-Dub has the best hair on the team?
I think so. I also something that bothers me slightly is that he has the reverse Colin Sexton. Colin Sexton has the same thing, but his lone braid is at the back. And I can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah, but that one doesn't make sense.
No,
unless
doesn't
it's for something special.
And people in the chat saying Josh has the best hair. I
He
like
does have
Trey's
the-
new look. Trey's braids look nice.
I can't. I didn't even. I
Do you
replied
think
to one of your
Josh?
tweets.
Do you think Josh like uses designer shampoo and conditioner? Or
Oh,
do you think he just,
100%.
or do you think he just like 2-in-1s it? Like
Hell, he is not 2-in-1ing it.
Steven,
way.
Steven Adams is 2-in-1ing it, if
You
at
think
all.
so? Steven
Yeah.
Adams is the definition of Samson. 100%. J-Dub also said that he loves the food scene in OKC and wants restaurant recommendations. So I have an assignment for both of you.
Oh no.
I'm ready now.
If you had to choose 3 Oklahoma City metro area restaurants
Oh,
that
God.
Josh needs to check out, where are they?
Okay.
He mentioned specifically he needs a barbecue joint. So you get bonus points if you throw out a barbecue joint.
I don't know many barbecue joints. Number 1, the
Van's
Jones
Big
Assembly.
Stand.
Okay, Sylvie said
Yeah.
Jones Assembly.
Jones Assembly. Number 2, Goro Ramen. Number 3, I don't have one yet. Kamiar, go.
Well,
Please.
for reference, J-Dub today, or not today, maybe on Monday on Media Day, said, I tried out this really good place, S&B Burgers. And I was like, we got to get my guy to some
Save
good
him.
OKC restaurants. Nothing against S&B. Like, S&B is
No.
good. But it's just like, man, we got to hook this guy up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we would take him to Van's Pig Stand. We would take him to Bobo's.
Oh,
if
hell
a-
yeah.
If
He would be
able.
all in on that.
And then I would show him some nice Mediterranean food in Oklahoma, in more Oklahoma.
I second the Bobos 100%. I might slide in his DMs later and tell him to check out some Bobos. For barbecue, I mean, Bobos kind of is barbecue, but for like traditional barbecue, Clark Crew up on Northwest Expressway, really good. The best cornbread I've probably ever had in my life. Like Clark Crew is really, really good barbecue. Get that cornbread and get some like burn ends. It's good stuff. My third one, I might have to go with a classic of mine.
I think
The
I know what it
Press.
is. Yep.
You gotta go get that buffalo
Good.
mac and cheese from the
It's really
press.
good.
Kamiar and I can attest, though. J-Dub, do not eat pressed buffalo mac before you go to practice or a game. It's a bad plan. I almost threw up.
I have my third.
Okay.
Have you guys been to the Ted's Cantina, which is like the Fuzzies
Yep,
version
fantastic.
of Ted's? It's really good.
I've
Yeah,
not
they have
been
this-
there yet.
Yeah, they have this really cool thing there called Burrilla Tacos that I that I highly recommend to everyone.
Where are you telling him to go for dessert?
Oh, Capitals ice cream. Swing on by.
Capitals is overrated.
Oh,
Go to Insomnia Cookies. Just hang out
Oh.
downtown. It's easy to go and where like I'm
It's
sure
good.
he's living nearby. Go or after practice, go to Insomnia Cookies. Go get yourself a couple chocolate milks and whatever. Or if you want to make the visit down a little bit down south in Norman, or no, they have one in OKC. Hertz Donuts. Go hit one of
Mhm.
those things up too. You'll have a fantastic time.
I'm sending him to Pie Junkie.
Pie Junkie's great. Waffle
Yep.
Champion. It's a good one.
Oh, yeah. Go hit up that waffle window, J-Dub.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good
have-
stuff.
We do have good food in OKC.
Yeah,
we
not
are-
too bad.
I think Oklahoma is like the most fast food places, institutions per capita in the United States.
Oh,
Yep.
interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
There are more fast food restaurants per capita in urban areas also than suburban areas by far. That's a story for a completely different podcast, though. Last thing on J-Dub, head coach Mark Daignault said the rookies don't really look like rookies at training camp so far. They play physical and they just kind of fit in. It's not like glaring like, oh, that guy is new. It seems pretty good to me, right? If they're already fitting in, if they're already kind of falling into the flow, I think that's interesting. A guy that we don't talk about much at all is Usman
Taco
Jang.
Bell.
Yeah, speaking of the Ted's Cantina. But Usman Jang, I'm interested to see kind of how he fits in here as well. Lastly, we've already mentioned this guy a couple times, But when asked about who has impressed them or who has improved the most over the summer, a lot of Thunder players instantaneously brought up the name Trey Mann. If you guys have not seen pictures of Trey from Media Day, he says he only gained 4 or 5 pounds, but he looks different. His arms look significantly bigger. His chest looks bigger. Like, he has put on some muscle. And I don't know, at the end of last year, I was talking about, should Trey Mann start? Should they trade Lou and start Trey? Everyone seems super high on Trey. He talked at Media Day about how last year defense was a big thing for him to stay on the court. He mentioned broccoli again. Eat the broccoli before you eat the Skittles. I'm expecting, the way the guys are talking, I'm expecting a big jump from Trey Mann this year. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I have this offseason, especially after Summer League, just left a bad taste in my mouth watching what Trey did there. Just Summer League though. But I have thought going into this second year that Trey Mann as a player, for measurement reasons, can't do quite as much on defense if his shot is not falling. Like, he doesn't, just because of his size, can't offer quite as much as like a J-Dub in theory because of his size. And players like Trey, like that style of play, like the volume microwave scorer, I feel like there's such a thin line in between. Are you Dion Waiters or are you like a J.R. Smith? Are you a, I don't know, Malik Monk or a Jordan Clarkson? I'm hoping with everything that people are saying about Trey that it's leaning the positive direction. I think, especially, I didn't hear this about the broccoli. Like, I think Trey's going to do all the right things. And he has all the intangibles to become a successful player off the bench.
I think you'll see incremental improvement. I think you'll notice differences in his game, but I don't think it's going to be like any sort of leap. I mean, what are his teammates going to say? Like, he sucks. He hasn't changed at all. Like, you know what I mean? But the fact that they all mentioned him maybe suggests that it's more of a substantial gain. That he seems like a guy that, I mean, he's flexing in that picture. Anyways, like, of course he looks that way. Anyways, you can see his triceps. Like, come on. Anyways, to what I'm saying, like, none of those players are gonna say like anything bad about their teammates, but the fact that they all singled out Trey maybe suggests he took maybe an extra step or two in his game, that you're maybe anticipating for guys that maybe take in year 3, maybe he took in year 2.
Yeah, and he was a sophomore coming out of college, so he's got that extra year. I don't know. I have high hopes for him this year. I'm excited to watch him play.
Yep.
Last thing, guys, before we get out of here, the preseason first game Monday. I have that post game. Super excited about it. So coming up, 4 days away?
Yeah,
nearly there. Super excited. I wanted to ask you guys. We'll go more in depth in this on Sunday, on our weekly show right before the preseason game. But just a handful of things that you guys are looking for during this preseason slate. What are some things? Not just like, I want to see who got better, like not very broad ideas, but what are some specific things that you are excited to watch and see if they have changed or what they look like going into the preseason? For me, it is going right back to the well, Trey Mann. I want to see, Trey talked a lot on the Thunder Basketball Universe podcast that he worked on ball handling and like making decisions out of pick and rolls and stuff over the summer. I want to see if Trey plays with the ball in his hands a little bit more, and what his defense looks like now that he's added a little bit of weight.
I'll be looking for pace of play, style of play, and specifically style of play in transition, and not just transition, but style of play between units. I wonder if we're going to see the same system of offense or the same style of offensive philosophy with Shea at the helm and having the ball in his hands as you would see with Josh and the second unit if Trey's going to be the main ball handler, because I imagine you're going to run a little bit of different sets with Josh than you would with Shea, just because Shea's can be more dangerous and at any level of the scoring opportunities in the paint, second level and the third level of the 3-point line, whereas Josh, he can't really pull up, but he still tries, which is still nice that he still attempts those and has that confidence to do so. But I'm looking to see, like, what's the consistency of the team and how are they playing on those things, and just defensive rotations, how they make those out. And specifically, as a player, is Poku just going to be that fun thing that does stupid stuff a lot sometimes, or is he going to become a real NBA player?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I think I'm a handful of things I'm looking at. Josh's shot. I feel like it looked one way last season. It looked one way summer league, and it looked even more different on those that private run that they did in LA. I thought it looked different there even. So curious what that'll look like coming out. I want to see how many threes he attempts and how he's attempting them. Like, I'm assuming he's not going to take a ton off the dribble. It's just going to be a lot of catch and shoot. Really curious how many shots J-Dub is going to take. Like, is he going to create his own shot a bunch? Is he just going to have to get shots within the offense? I don't know. And then just lineups, of course. Meek Leak in our chat said he's excited for every player on our 15-man roster. I kind of am too. Like, I want to see what wonky lineups if they're out there. Like, are we going to see Aaron Wiggins at all in some of these weird lineups, but put J-Dub at the 5, Wiggins at the 4? I don't know. Yeah, excited for that. Ready for games.
Yeah. I'm also excited to see what Usman looks like.
I forget about it.
I know he's got such a long runway because he's so young, but he's so unique. I'm interested to see how much time he gets in preseason, how they fit him in. Do they try to let him play with the ball in his hands? Does he play primarily off? Like, I don't know how real things are in the preseason. I mean, I remember watching Andre Robertson run a pick and roll in preseason and shoot 5 threes in a game in a preseason game. So I don't know how much we can buy into a lot of this stuff. But with a young team like this, I think you can buy into it a little bit more than some of the new things you see from a veteran team, right?
I agree.
And so I'm excited to see kind of what that looks like.
And I think Mark and Sam have talked about wanting the same style of play in any environment. Like, they want the blue to play the same way that the main team plays. And so I feel like whatever Mark is doing in the preseason and exhibition games like this will hopefully be similar to what we see in the regular season.
Wonder how much we see Lou Dort handle.
Yeah.
He talked a lot about his decision-making at Media Day, so I'm interested to see that as well. Awesome. Gentlemen, anything else before we log off for the night?
I love basketball. Excited for a new season.
I'm glad it's here. The
I'm
guy
here,
said it
ready-
felt
I'm
like
ready
the
to get hurt
offseason was
again.
forever. I concur. The offseason lasted such a long time. I'm excited that we're actually back to hoops.
Let's all pour one out for Coolio, passed away today.
Yeah.
Is our outro music Coolio today?
No, I think there might be some copyright issues with that, but
Touche.
we'll get a Coolio type beat off YouTube one of these days.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you guys so much for tuning into the Uncontested. We will be back with you again Sunday night, preseason game number 1 eve. Remember, if you want an uncontested hat, get in our DMs, as that is a very limited run. We'd love to send you one. If you already ordered one, I'll get it out soon. Also, drop a 5-star to get a free uncontested sticker. Just take a screenshot of it, DM it to us along with your address. You guys have a great rest of your week. Make sure to follow us on socials. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Sub to the YouTube channel so you can see when we go live. Speaking of, we'll be live Sunday night, 9 p.m. Central Time, so make plans. Come and join us. Until then, and as always, thunder up.